I was very stressed out. It's college decision season and graduation season almost. I thought I'd come on here and talk about how I graduated early and what my college application process looked like, because I only applied to one school and I started the application less than a month before it was due. For anyone out there who's also trying to do this, because I would have really appreciated some good information, because I was really lost. This all started back in September of my junior year, like September, I don't know, 2019, whatever it was. I was talking to my mom and she had done this when she was growing up. I was just like, I don't want to go to high school for another 2 years. I just have to get out of here. All of that kind of thing. I just decided that I wanted to like move on and do something new the next year. A lot of that fall was spent doing a lot of research, trying to figure out what credits I needed to graduate, and also trying to find schools that I could apply to, because if I was going to graduate, I needed to apply to schools that winter, which was just insane. So there were a couple problems that I ran into when I was first thinking about graduating early. One of them was that I didn't have enough English credits. My school requires 4 years of English in order to graduate. Obviously in 3 years I couldn't take 4 years of English. Another problem was that literally the state of Illinois is insane. We're supposed to take 4 years of gym to graduate, and I think that is like... And then a third thing was the state of Illinois also made civics a required class in order to graduate. I think it's pretty obvious how I feel about the state of Illinois. And that was something I was going to take as a senior, because a lot of people do then. So I had all these classes and I was like, how am I supposed to graduate early and get all this stuff done? Then there was also the big question of, you know, if I'm applying to a college as a junior, are they gonna accept me? Are they gonna take me as seriously? And I'll get into that later. Basically, as the fall went on, I did a lot of research, but I still was kind of in an unknown. Like, it was a standstill a little bit, because I couldn't start talking to my counselor about me graduating early if I didn't already know that there was a college that I wanted to apply to. So my mom and I ended up visiting a school like one of the last weekends before finals in December, like literally the last chance we had. There was also a lot of thought around the school too, because my dad is a college professor, and so there's a group of schools associated with the college that he teaches at that I can get a reduced tuition at. And I think at this day and age, obviously everyone knows that college is getting really crazy expensive. Obviously I have to take that offer, right, and check out these schools. So the school we ended up visiting was one of those schools, and I went and I just like totally fell in love with it. This is great financially for me. I love it here anyway. So at that point, that weekend, it all came together. I was like, okay, everything needs to move at 1,000,000 miles an hour. My application's gonna be due in less than a month, and I need to get this all together. But I still didn't even know at that point, visiting the school, I literally had an interview and I didn't even know if I could graduate early. By the time I got home, again, it's like the weekend before finals, we're about to go on holiday break, and then my application's due right after holiday break. So we get home and I make an appointment with my counselor and then like another head counselor, and in 45 minutes, they literally figured out everything for me. So they told me that I could take 2 English credits online. That would make up for the 4 years that I needed, which was great because I just did not know how I was gonna fit in another year of English. We also found out that if I dropped one of the classes I was currently taking and then put in a civics class for the next semester, then I would be able to get all of those credits in. It basically says I dropped a class on my transcript, which it's very weird. Also, my gym credits, apparently, even though on all of our school websites, it really makes it seem like you need 8 semesters of gym to graduate. You only need a gym credit for every semester you're enrolled. So since I wouldn't be enrolled that next year, I didn't need those credits. My counselors figure it all out. They're like, okay, this is how you send your ACT score to the school. This is what you need to do to make sure you get your credits in. They gave me the link to start my online English credits. Then I had my holiday break. Theo came and visited, so things were busy. And that whole time, for, I don't know, a couple weeks, I was working on my personal essay, right? Because obviously I haven't started my personal essay. And you know, I think that's something that if I had waited until my senior year, I really would have had a leg up on. You spend so much of the beginning of your senior year drafting and learning how to write essays about yourself. And then I was just there trying to do it like in 3 weeks. So that was definitely a very stressful period of time, but I felt so much better going and visiting a school, being like, okay, I love this, I can see myself here, talking to my counselors, them giving me a plan for all of my credits. But obviously none of this would go through if I didn't get into the school. So that was kind of a big deal. Over that holiday break, I work on my personal essay, I'm filling out the Common App, all of this stuff that usually I would have had so much time to do as a senior, but I was like going so fast trying to fill it all out before my application deadline. My application was due January 8th. I literally stayed home from school that day to finish it. Time was so tight, so I ended up submitting that on the day it was due, put everything I could, into it in, you know, like the 3 weeks that I had to do it. It was like another month ahead of just extreme stress. Thankfully, I applied early decision, so I got my decision back early. Okay, that sounded so dumb. So because I applied early decision, thankfully, I was able to get my response back. I think February 1st it was supposed to be. I literally spent the entire month of January thinking about it constantly. It gets to the end of January and I'm just like sitting one day in my bed. I had a math test the next day. I was like really procrastinating. I was supposed to find out that weekend about college. And I'm just like sitting in my bed, going online, looking for something to order Theo for Valentine's Day. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, I get a text and it's like, check your email for an admissions update. And I was like, what? Because it wasn't supposed to come out until that weekend again. I think that Saturday. And so I was freaking out and I was like, well, this could only be one thing, right? Like what else could it be right now? And Theo's also on the phone, by the way. I literally said nothing. I was like shocked. I was just like, and like logging into my email. I go to the email they sent me, I view my status update, and then it's like fireworks and like congratulations. I remember I was crying, I was freaking out. Theo was crying, and that was just a really crazy moment because it meant like everything that I was doing that year trying to make this all work and all of the times that I spent not knowing if I could make it happen or not, finally that was all just over and I was in and it happened. It's like this crazy idea that I had back in September was actually working. So yeah, I ended up getting in. As of now, I'm gonna be a freshman next year, assuming everything is fine with the coronavirus and that like schools don't go online in the fall. If you're looking to graduate early, think ahead. I should have talked to my counselors earlier. I didn't think that they would support me. I didn't think that they would help me in what I wanted to do. But I definitely think looking back, if I had talked to them earlier, we could have figured that plan out earlier and it would have saved me a lot of stress and just like uncertainty. Just talk to your counselors as early as you can, even if you don't know where you're gonna apply yet. Just like have that figured out. If you start early enough, which I didn't, but you know, you can. If you start early enough and you start planning things out when you're gonna finish all these credits, it's really not the worst thing ever. It's just a matter of starting early, being organized, and like talking to people at your school and figuring stuff out, and then you can totally make it work. This was how I graduated early. It sounds like a whirlwind because it literally was, and that was just looking back on this year right now, it was insane. With time and commitment and all of that stuff, you can definitely make it work. I hope this was entertaining for someone. Bye!